Hi, and welcome to this week's solo episode of the Guest List podcast. I'm your host, Steve Guest, and today's, I suppose, episode is I've entitled it "Unfinished Business," and I think I'm just going to go on a bit of a kind of rant, chat, conversation. I think it's a bit of a character trait. I think it's what's allowed me to consistently aim for improvement and I suppose achieve and look to achieve more on a day-to-day basis. But I want to give you a story in terms of my thought process over the last couple of days. So some of you may know this, but probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I injured my ankle ligaments, 2 shots into hole 1 of an 18-round golf match, and I've got pretty dodgy ankles anyway. So 2 shots in, I had to send my friend to go and get a golf buggy to pick me up, driving back to the car. That was the end of my golfing session, and I haven't played since up to yesterday. I've been limping around, being the normal dramatic self that I am. And it's only really been up until the last few days that I've managed to get back to almost walking properly again. But in the middle of all of that, I had a weekend booked away to go to the Lake District on a walking holiday with friends from school and friends that we've made over the years. There's a small group of us, and we set off to the Lake District a couple of weekends ago, and if I'm honest, I'd started getting back to some sort of normality. So I thought, do you know what, let's just give it a go, let's see how it holds up. Walking on flat ground, I can kind of manage it. Not sure how walking up hills and at height and across uneven unlevel ground, whether it would hold up, but hey ho, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Went for the weekend, and the first day, which was the Friday, we travelled up to the Lake District, and we set about walking about 9:30, 10, I think it was. It was dreadful weather. It was pouring rain. It was fog. It was mist. Everything that I thought was waterproof, I found out was not waterproof, and I kind of limped through it. It was really tough from a physical and mental space. I had various moments of doubt and I suppose worry walking. It took, not sure how many hours, probably 4 or 5 hours of walking, and it was straight up. I think we went up 700, 800 meters, up hills and up uneven ground, walking down streams, walking through lakes, and I did enjoy it, but there was some mental motivation that was needed, and from a physical perspective, my ankle didn't hold up too well. This is kind of the background to the podcast and my thought process. And I only managed the first day of walking, and a lot of my friends went off and did the second day together. I kind of meandered around Keswick, just going through the shops, going having breakfast and seeing the sights and watching a bit of footy in the afternoon. So I missed out on the second day of walking. And then obviously missed out on the third day, where a few of my friends had decided that they'd had enough and they were tired and didn't fancy the bigger climb on the third day. So I had a few people around me on the Sunday. But the big thing that stays with me is I didn't achieve what I set out to go and achieve. And in my brain, the way my head functions, I manage 1 day out of 3. And in effect, the Lake District, the walking, the hills beat me. And they did. I mean, I can't say I mastered the first day particularly, but the 3 days beat me, and I never achieved what I set out to achieve. And this is what I class as unfinished business. It stays as a voice in the back of my head that consistently says, Steve, you didn't do it. Steve, you didn't achieve it. You need to go back and do it again, and go and make sure that you master them 3 days and you get past all your mental and physical worries and hurdles and problems to go back to the Lake District, back to going doing those climbs and those walks. And now I've got to try and rope in a couple of friends at least that are willing to go back and do the same 3 days. And it got me thinking about this. And as I say, I've titled the podcast Unfinished Business because I think this is the fundamental reason that drives me on a lot of the time. Because when I achieve goals, when I achieve certain things, when I attain certain results, and I'm pleased and proud with what I've done, there's always something else afterwards. Or perhaps there's certain things that I didn't quite excel at, or I didn't particularly do well. And I have this nagging voice in the back of my head that says, Steve, you need to go back and complete that. Or you need to go and achieve more. Or you need to get to that next rung on the ladder. So I thought it would make a good podcast episode because hopefully just me sharing that story starts to get you thinking along the lines of what's your unfinished business? What parts of your life, what has happened recently where perhaps you didn't achieve what you needed to achieve, or you got knocked back, or you felt a bit rejected, or you had good intention but didn't quite achieve the heights that you were expecting? What unfinished business are you going to go back and finish? Are you going to make yourself accountable? Are you going to let me know what your unfinished business is? Drop me a little note, a post, an email, a message, and just let me know what that is, and let me know how you're going to go about achieving it and actually finishing off that business to achieve or attain whatever it is that you're looking for. So hopefully this podcast, as I say, it's a relatively brief and short one today, but hopefully it starts getting you to think about, don't leave things at a loose end. If there are things you're looking to achieve and you didn't quite excel, learn how you can go back and make sure you achieve it and get more out of what you're trying to do in life, and never leave a stone unturned. Go back and finish that unfinished business. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I look forward to speaking and seeing you all soon. As always, if there's any episodes or any topics you'd like me to cover, if there's any guests or individuals that you feel would be a good fit for this podcast, please get in touch. Let me know. Let me know your feedback. If you haven't yet given this podcast a rating on whether it's Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you're listening or tuning in, please give it a rating. It always helps. Give it a review. Any shares are obviously always welcome as well, if you feel the messages and the value within this podcast is worth sharing. Wish you all the best. I look forward to hearing all your unfinished business stories and catching up with you next week.